as well. So being out of Bonneville as well, just the whole experience.
And that's a whole different ball game to
Bonneville, and Bonneville's equally as awesome as that Riddler Crunch and getting to the show.
Yeah.
In its own right, Bonneville's better because you see, like we've seen George Petit in the speed demon go by at 450 odd mile an hour. It's just obscene.
It's crazy, isn't it? And to be out there with those guys.
Yeah.
And there's no egos. They just
out there.
They just do their thing.
Everyone's friends. Like if you damage something on your motor, they put a call out over the loudspeaker.
Yep.
Anyone out there that happens to have a gasket for this specific brake, someone needs it. Can you help them out?
Yeah.
So it's egos are left at the door, and everyone's there to just beat their own personal best records.
Really?
That's what they're there for, because there's no...
Which is unusual in the car industry, to have a sport like salt flat racing to be just social, not so much competitive. It's all competitive, but I think they compete against themselves, don't they?
Yeah. Without a doubt. And they're just trying to break their own personal best and try to break previous world records that are held.
Yeah. So when was that held? Is that just recently?
Yeah, it was maybe about 2 months ago.
So you've had a fairly busy year.
Yeah.
It hasn't stopped at all.
No, it's been pretty intense.
Yeah. But that's good. That keeps it busy. Keeps you wanting to do more. Yeah.
And it just gets you out, to not only see throughout the US, but just to see the stuff that we only ever see through the magazines.
Yeah.
To be there and experience what I always had the passion to want to go and do.
Yeah. And because we don't have that population, we just can't do all those things that they do. We got very few amounts of cars to do it.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, and you're travelling all over America and seeing different stuff and meeting obviously a lot of different people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, is there any workshops you'd like to get into, or are you pretty happy with where you are?
I'm pretty happy with where I am.
Yeah. I believe it's a very good place, like where you are. Yeah.
It's good. I mean, you've got the freedom.
Yeah.
To creatively, there's no boundary creatively.
And they're happy with
on that top end.
They're happy with an Aussie in the workshop.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well,
there's a lot of tongue in cheek when you're an Aussie.
Yeah, there is, and they're great. Like the way they receive it and the way they come back at me, and all of that. It's just.
Are you teaching them a few tricks?
Oh yeah. Yeah, they definitely have unique methods.
Yes.
Of the way they do things.
Yeah. But it's nice to be able to learn different ways, and you're probably picking up some of the things that they're doing. Yeah,
just seeing the way, just more so that Riddler building.
Yeah.
Like when you put a body on a chassis, and when you're done, the gap between the body and the chassis is 1/16 of an inch. It's all painted and done.
Yeah.
How
everything has to be perfect. There is no second place.
No, and there's no room for tolerance.
No. Everything's got to be spot on.
Yeah, and when you're building a car, like you need certain tolerances to make things happen.
Yeah. Doors have got to open.
That's right.
That's one of the hardest ones.
And not hang.
Yeah.
They're so heavy.
Yeah. And that's a restriction in itself. Like getting all those tolerances right and staying right. Like, because you've got to travel across the country, so the car's got to bounce around on a trailer.
Yep.
We all have the same problem.
Yeah.
And when you get to the show, if it's not right, then it's bad luck.
Yeah.
Like you're out of the Riddler, basically.
Pretty much, or unless you've got the stones to adjust things out there. And at that point, it could go really bad.
It usually does.
Yeah.
We've seen a few guys have a few issues getting to the show. Yeah. One guy scratched the chassis getting into the trailer.
Yep.
Which basically put them out of the Riddler when we were there.
Yep.
That was enough to destroy their whole plan. So even just to go into a trailer and travel across the country is daunting.
And not to receive any damage.
Yeah.
Especially because by the time they get pushed onto the trailer, these cars haven't been shaken down.
No,
they're
not at all.
Pretty much as the car's walking out, the buffer's still chasing it out the door.
Yeah. And the trimmer's still running with him. Everyone's trying to do their last bit as it goes into the trailer. And because there's no champagne, see you later.
And because of how intense it is, nothing's put away.
No.
In the workshop as it's all going on. So it's just.
Yeah, I've done that at shows. Turned around as I've gone into the trailer, turned around, looked at the mess, and gone, "No,
Deal with
fix
that
it when
later.
I get back. Yeah, no, it's fairly intense. So with the metalwork, I want to go back to the metalwork and touch on that a little bit with you. And because you've learned it here in Australia, the technique from Australia to America, is there a big difference in the technique?
It's so big, there's no difference.
Really? Yeah. So they do different stuff completely different than what we do.
It completely different than what we do.
Yeah, because you are known as the metal man from Australia in America. We all know that. We all accept that you've gone over there breaking some ground for us, you know. And so we kind of putting a bit of faith in you here. Not to mug it up yet.
I think with how we're building cars, I think we're on the money.
Are they still lead filling and things like that?
No.
No, that technique's gone.
Yeah, and if it is found anywhere, it'll be in people who are building really traditional based hot rods and not involved in that show circuit at all.
Or the Pebble Beach style car, you know, because that's a whole different level. Again, that's a different scenario because that's all original concourse stuff, you know. Very few hot rods go there.
But I think Pebble Beach is kind of concourse, but in its own right, kind of Riddlerish.
It is, definitely.
Because it's not like concourse where it's got the factory imperfections.
It's harder to win because you need to drive that car. Like, you've got to drive it through their circuit in front of the crowd.
Yep.
So a Riddler car tends to drive. Like, we all know they'll move under their own power.
Yes.
But not as a drivable car, you know. So there's a few differences, you know.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah. Like, because when we went, the cars had to be driven on their own power and use the brakes and do a turn. Yeah. I think they're going to change the rules to do it at figure 8 or something in the near future.
So it actually drives a larger section. And I think eventually get to the point where the cars will need to drive, you know, a couple miles or something like that to prove that it works as a car.
Yeah, because they still need to be a car essentially. You know, they still got to be drivable.
They still need to work, even though because of the money thrown at them, a lot of owners are reluctant to drive.
And that's understandable. Why would you ruin anything, all that work that you've gone through, like even just to heat the headers up? You know, like you don't want to use them too much because you've tried to make everything look so good that...
Well, I mean, I think for the first 12 months, I can understand doing the show circuit.
Yeah.
But it's still a car.
Yeah. Well, that's what we've done with the X-Boss. We've gone through, the boys built it in Perth, then it's come to us, we've done all the body and paint, and then we've done the Riddler and then travelled Australia for the 12 months. And essentially tried not to use the car, you know, maybe drive it in and out of a building. But other than that, it really hasn't been used until just recently when we took it to Bathurst and drove the track, which was an awesome experience to drive a Riddler car on essentially a public road, you know, because it wasn't a racetrack on the day we were there. So you've got to allow for other users. So to drive a Riddler car to do that, it was just an amazing process because everything underneath's painted, flat rub, buffed, you know, detailed, gapped, you know, it's crazy, you know.
And I think because we have driven kind of just a little bit of a shakedown of the Model 8.
Yeah.
You know, and there's I don't know what maybe just a special feeling when you're driving that level of car out on a public road.
Yeah.
You almost feel naughty.
You do, don't you? It's kind of funny because you go, oh, should I be doing this? Like, it took me a couple of weeks to get my head around it. We were going to put this on a road and drive it. And I even said to Chris just the day before we put it on the track, you sure you want to do this? You know, like all this work and then to use it, you know? And he's, no, that's why I built it, to use it. You know?
And that's what I think.